Hello, I'm Maine Castillo. I'm Town Hall's program manager. I have brown skin, brown hair. I'm wearing a black sweater and I'm sitting in front of a white background. On behalf of Town Hall Seattle and Epiphanies of Equity, it's my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's live stream program celebrating Disability Pride Month with artists ChrisTiana ObeySumner, Saira Barbaric, Nic Masangkay, Julz Ignacion, and Corey Davenport. As we get underway, I would like to acknowledge that our institution stands on the unceded traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, particularly the Duwamish. We thank them for our continued use of the natural resources of their ancestral homeland. Thank you all for tuning in. Town Hall is proud to be a community-focused organization and a place where we can share and sustain ideas and creativity, even if it means we can't gather in person. I'd like to thank all of our presenters for performing tonight to help make that possible. We hope you've been enjoying your summer so far. Town Hall is getting ready for an exciting fall season with a mix of in-person and virtual events. We will soon have our fall events posted on our online calendar, so be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, you can check out a whole range of past Town Hall programming in the media library. Tonight's presentation will be about an hour and a half. Most of our program tonight includes pre-recorded content with our friend ChrisTiana ObeySumner emceeing. We will not be taking questions from the audience tonight, so just sit back and enjoy the program. Additionally, we have a cart service provider on the program tonight, so those captions will be on your screen for the duration of the program. Town Hall's work is made possible through your support and the support of our sponsors. Our Arts and Culture series is supported by For Culture, Arts Fund, Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, the Northcliffe Foundation, and Wyncote Foundation Northwest. Finally, Town Hall is a member-supported organization, so I'd like to thank all of our members watching tonight. And now to introduce tonight's special program with ChrisTiana ObeySumner. ChrisTiana is the founder of Epiphanies of Equity, a firm that provides social equity consulting and advocacy to nonprofits, companies, and governments with the goal of facilitating a space where clients can have breakthrough realizations to transform their praxis and establish universal equity goals. Please join me in welcoming ChrisTiana ObeySumner.
Thank you so much, Megan, and thank you, Town Hall Seattle, for this amazing opportunity to have this. Welcome to this amazing show. I wanted to just give a warm welcome to folks who are here today, and just to give you, before we get started with things, just sort of an overview of why you're here and why this is important, because what we have in store for you are some amazing artists and some amazing art, but I do want to ensure that we are sharing sort of what our dream for this space is. This is a curated show of Black, Brown, and Indigenous disabled performers and artists. This month is Disability Pride Month, or ADA Month, which is the 31st anniversary of when the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA, was passed in 1990. The Americans with Disabilities Act is a policy that has created opportunities for disabled folks and folks with disabilities to be able to fight for equal rights and access. Today, we asked each of these Black, Brown, Indigenous disabled performers and artists to prepare a 3 to 5 minute set that explores a personal, social, political, collective, and or cultural reflection on the intersection of racial justice and disability justice. Disability justice is a framework that was founded or established in the early 2000s by a collective of Black, Brown, Indigenous, queer, trans, and non-binary disabled organizers, artists, and other rabble-rousers out there in this world. Disability justice is a platform of 10 guiding principles, the first of which is intersectionality. Disability justice encourages liberation and true equity, as well as the amplification of the voices and leadership of disabled Black, Brown, and Indigenous folks. These performances will either focus on disability justice as a whole or on any of those 10 principles of disability justice. Performers can focus on racial justice on the whole as well, specific communities within racial justice, and or movement related to intersectional to disability and racial justice. Some examples of intersectional movements as we are dealing with the completely changing world right now is everything from environmental racism and justice, reproductive health, the metal industrial complex, a criminal legal system, and everything else. The hope for this tonight is to show the full spectrum and artistic space of disabled folks. And we have 4 amazing performers, well, I guess 5 if you include myself. 5 amazing performers that will be sharing with you tonight. The first of which will be Nic Masangkay. Nic is shared in their bio, when you struggle with the ending, thick of me. I am Nic Masangkay, a cultural worker in music, poetry, multimedia, and transformation. Following years in a personal state of survival, I reemerge in 2021 thriving. I'm loved and ready to love. I know my power and where that can take us. We're living in unprecedented times, unprecedented in quotes. And every day I feel the people's universal fear of the unknown. Change is here. We have summoned it for so long. And now that it arrives, will we show up? Are you ready to let go of the way things were, how it got here? Post-survival, will you finally love like the world is ending? Like you are ready for what you asked for. I promise I am with you when it all needs to end. So let us begin. Everyone, I am excited for you to hear Sick by Nic Masangkay.
And the animatronic Biden. In fact, given
action. Grew up toxic, now we sipping poison. We don't have a choice but to be this bitch. All the poison in our blood, it makes us sick. All the violence in our blood, it makes us sick. All the violence in our bodies makes us
Oh my gosh, how awesome was that? Okay, so getting started with a great start. I'm hoping that you're starting to like feel those juices flowing, and as we go along, just continuing to just talk about the importance of doing this work, especially as we continue to fight in this space. I will just say, as I was thinking about how 2021 is still going, but there's still that whole phrase of like hindsight is 2020, which will forever have a new meaning. I mean, while it already denotes the importance of reflection and learning from our histories, it seems like last year and this year was like a masterclass of inequity and the insidiousness of racism and anti-Blackness and classism and ableism, xenophobia, transphobia, and it's all the intergenerational toxicity of all of these different systems and institutions, especially as it's sort of rooted in some of the major sort of drivers of inequity. And it's love of, which has been a love affair with racial capitalism and other forms of oppression. If there was to be any embodiment of the eternal partnership of inequity and the impacts that it has on intersectional communities, especially the extent to which disabled folks and folks with disabilities continue to be left out of conversations about vaccines and reopening. This has been the time to see how those 10 principles of disability justice are really, really important. And one of those things that I want to make sure that I share is what the 10 principles of disability justice are too. So the 10 principles are the intersectionality, leadership of those who most impacted, anti-capitalist politic, sustainability, recognizing wholeness, commitment to cross-movement solidarity, commitment to cross-disability organizing, interdependence, collective access, and collective liberation. And so, this work today resides on the historical continuum, both for the past and the future. I mean, the Civil Rights Act, for example, which only passed 56 years ago, and the ADA was pursued because disabled folks, as well as other communities, were left out of the Civil Rights Act, and the ADA was only 31 years ago. So I implore you, as you're listening to this art, and you're thinking about these things and why we're here and sharing these narratives with you, I implore you to seek to make some radical changes within your structures and to continue to think about where in your body mind is that commitment to radical structure and change. With that, we go on to our next set, which will be Julz Ignacion. Jules is an Ilocano American non-binary queer and partially deaf and hard of hearing artist. They, she, Sia, and initiated Hilot Bina Island, a practitioner trained in the ancient healing arts and sciences of the Philippines. Jules specializes in ancestral healing rituals through tattoo ritual, divination, serenade, energy healing, and body work. I'm super excited for y'all to hear Jules's Manaki Kubat. And yeah,
The tears of my father are swimming down my face. The grief of migration cannot be erased. I weep for my people who suffer from the lies, navigating nightmares so we can survive. Do you know that heartache grows in your belly? Do you know that seasons change in your eyes? Do you know your mother's hands carry stories? Generations wisdom in her palms. Oh, motherland, unlock our power, teach us how to dance. We are your warriors, Manaki Kubat. Oh, motherland, unlock our power, teach us how to dance.
We are your warriors, manakikubahan.
Yes, this is so amazing so far. My heart is full. I hope that you also are feeling some of this fullness of this coming on. It's been amazing. This has been something that here at Town Hall Seattle we've been talking about for a couple years. We were going to do it last year, but of course 2020 happened, and my hope is that this continues to be something where we just show the beauty and the joy of Black, Brown, Indigenous, disabled folks in all of our intersections and our full spectrums. It's amazing. Which is even more amazing is the next person we have coming up for you, which is Corey Davenport. Corey is they, them, el, ex, is a agender Afro-surrealist, multidisciplinary artist and Black anarchist with a strong affinity to plants, planets, and other celestial bodies. As a queer organizer, they use different forms of artwork as a tool to inspire, agitate, and queer the radical imaginations of those around them. Their work centers pleasure in all forms, from body neutrality to envisioning and working towards a future present without prisons that normalizes liberatory sex education and the sex work industry. This is going to be a set that is going to be music that Corey has performed, but is not going to have live photo. It will only have a static photo. So there's nothing wrong with your screen when you see it. It's just, this is one of those to sort of to listen to the music. Of course, there will be sort of, or to read the music. And I look forward to this. I didn't get to hear this one yet, so I'm excited. Please get ready for Corey Davenport. My gosh, that was so amazing. So amazing that I had to, that even Barkley came to see what was going on. this is Barkley, by the way. He's also one of the onset managers. Is amazing to have these amazing performers come on. We're going to have a shorter show today just because we also just wanted to have this be a super chill, laid back space, but also super excited to, like I said, to have this just be the beginning of something that continues on. We're going to have our second to last performer come on, and this is Saira Barbaric. Saira, they, Z, she, he is a non-binary, trans, cane-leaning, Black queer, multidisciplinary creator. They, he strives to blend genders and bend genres with their creations to enable their audience to envision a future where society is fluent in the languages of accessibility, sensuality, and cultural appreciation. Since 2015, Saira has organized over 36 events, as well as shown porn, visual art, and performances in over 13 cities around the United States, 2 in Europe, and 3 in Canada. So this person is the real deal, y'all. Let's give it up for Saira Barbaric.
All the work, protests, and cooperation that led to the Americans with Disabilities Act make it a triumph. The demonstrations, the solidarity across movements. I tear up anytime I think about the Black Panthers and all the others who brought beds, meds, meals, and more to the 504 sit-in in San Francisco. One of many actions that led toward the ADA. The Americans with Disabilities Act was a start. Like so many that have been necessary throughout history to create structural recognition of societal failing. In the documentary Crip Camp, Denise Jacobson said, the ADA was a wonderful achievement, but it was only a tiny tip of the iceberg. A tiny tip. I need you to know the ADA is a noun. It is a law. It is not a verb. It is not an adjective. We are not ADA people, just as I am not a 13th or 15th Amendment person. From the bottom of my heart, I need you to know that in my life, the ADA has been used as a smokescreen, a white flag, a barrier, as much as it's been a support device or a guiding light. The ADA is a piece of legislation. It is not a registration of all the disabled people alive. It is not a comprehensive list of all the needs of disabled people. It is a start. It's the tip of the iceberg. That iceberg is built of bodies and brains, limbs and nerves, each one part of a person who has distinct needs. Each person part of a different community, a slice of life. I am Black, mad, and live with chronic pain. My father was the same, but larger and lighter skinned. He taught me to ignore how I hurt, taught me how to mask it. Being Black and living in pain is just expected. He got me diagnosed young, hoping it would help. Help me engage with doctors. Help me advocate for myself. Help me find some kind of support. I don't know how his life would have grown if my father had gotten to know disability justice. I don't know how he would have felt needing to name or claim his disabilities. I wish his heart or mind could have known that we moved on a path forged not only by Black revolutionaries, but by disabled ones as well. No law alone can change hearts or minds. Denise Jacobson finished by saying, "You can change a law, but until you change society's attitudes, that law won't mean much." To any public office holders, organizers, building managers, bosses, or coworkers, some advice: learn to listen, then learn to ask, then learn to repeat. No one can know or anticipate the needs of every person they may encounter, so listen, ask, then listen again. With patience and energy, believe people, even when their reality is different from yours, and get comfortable with discomfort, and work. Only through discomfort can you grow. Only through work can newness thrive. And we have hearts and minds and societies to change.
Oh my goodness. I've been so thankful and overjoyed to be able to just be in a space to share these amazing artists with you, and to have this night together, especially on the eve of ADA Day, which is on the 26th, or I think it's next Monday, Tuesday. I don't know my days. Next Monday. It's next Monday, which will be the day the ADA signed. I encourage you to continue to look in your area to see if you find other disabled folks, the global majority around, who are sharing this, or disability justice-based spaces. We did lose a person, and so I wanted to share my a sort of monologue, spoken word thing that I wrote for my grandma, who my grandmom was a disabled Black Panther. I come from a family of disabled folks who have fought for racial equity. And it's called My Grandma's Teeth. And it sort of shares how all of my experiences with my grandma have all sort of centered around finding her teeth. So I will perform this for you. This will be the last performance, and then we will close out the night. So this is My Grandma's Teeth. 1. Oh, wait a minute, baby. Can you do grandma a favor? My 5-year-old voice rang with anticipation. What's up, grandma? Do you know grandma found her teeth? Well, where are they at? I inquired. Well, they're over there in the storage closet on the second shelf behind the green U-Haul box, in the blue mop bucket full of junk, in the Ziploc bag with the blue toothbrushes in it. So I launched out of my seat, skipping and springing to the closet. I followed every instruction to the letter. I counted up to the second shelf. I moved the green U-Haul box aside. I tilted the blue mop bucket towards me, and I saw a bundle of blue toothbrush handles, ready for my praises. I yanked open the Ziploc bag, rustled through the toothpicks and half-empty toothpaste, but I could only find one plate. As if approaching a judge to receive a sentence, I bowed my head and admitted I could only find one half of her teeth. Don't worry, baby, my grandma comforted. We'll look together. So as we began to tear through the home, searching every bag and drawer where everyday totems were tossed for their next use, my grandma began humming a tune I didn't quite know, but I recognized from a Bugs Bunny cartoon. And as if she could read my mind, my grandma said, I'll know why I'm like this. I always try to practice to keep my teeth in my room. Do, 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 do. And I giggled at the rhymes, and my grandma's still gray eyes were just mist over. Though she was still flash, her toothless smile. That's okay. That's okay. I don't need them anyway. She put her head down too. When I went home that night, I asked my mom why grandma always rhymed. I could tell she didn't know how to explain it. How do you explain madness to a 5-year-old? Or does my mom even fully agree with that assessment? Does my grandma even fully agree with that assessment? She hates it when the family calls her names like crazy because they don't see or feel what she sees and feels, because her lived experience is real to her, because she has pride in it, yet she cries when she rhymes because she has no control over it or over the harm and the names. She wishes she could live her life in her full truth, but afraid of what society would continue to do to her, what it already has done to her, what she has still not healed from. But should she? And does she even have a choice? My mom shrugged and said, without glancing over, that's grandma. Too. My Chemical Romance is blaring through my headphones, and my eyes are closed, and I'm dreaming of performing on stage, decked out in my trip pants, with my 50 safety pins too many, the soft vibrations of my CD spinning in my Discman lulls me into a dream state. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. You wear me out. You wear me out. You wear me out. I jolted out of my American Idol fantasies with a hard shake and a fall off the couch. I ripped off my headphones and sighed the only sort of forced sigh a 17-year-old can force out. Yes, Grandma? I asked curtly. Help me find my teeth. We couldn't find it last time. I took a deep breath and I asked with a little bit less bite. Where did you see them last? She took a moment to think and breathe to herself. Leaning forward on her cane, she looked around the apartment and seemed to have an epiphany. Oh, I know right where they are. Okay, so look in the kitchen drawer on the left side of the stove, on the left side. Now, not the right of the stove, and not the drawer on the left of the stove, but the left drawer on the left side of the stove. Now there should be a little orange makeup case and with lemon slices on it. And inside that zippered pocket of that case, I'm pretty sure the teeth are in there. So by this time, I learned the rules. And so I followed the directions to a T. Okay, kitchen drawer, left, orange makeup case with the lemon zippered, inside zippered pocket. I found it, and I opened it up. There's no teeth. I heard the door to the bathroom close, and I knew this was my chance to really find the teeth. I tiptoed into the living room. I lifted up the couch cushions, but I came up empty. I didn't give up though. I looked towards the TV and I saw right next to the remote was one plate of teeth. The bathroom door opened and my heart began to race. You found my teeth? I found one. The next hour was a roller coaster through the 5 stages of grief. Shock and denial. And you didn't find it. Let me go check. I bet you didn't even look well. Anger. What? You sure they didn't fall out when you were looking? Why can't I ever find both my teeth? Depression. Fuck it. I guess I'm never gonna eat again. Bargaining. Well, maybe I can try to eat this with only one plate of teeth. She puts a fork full of food in her mouth. Kind of. Acceptance. Well, I guess it's almost time for Medicare to pay for a new set anyway, right? I guess I'll have to wait a little bit. At night, I went home and sat in a dark closet in my room. My own voices were growing louder, and I wanted to tell my grandma that I was starting to understand why she cried so much. The constant chattering, berating, misdirection, and cacophony was maddening. And it wasn't even that was maddening, but the ways in which my teachers looked at me and treated me. The other students shied away from me. I was picked on a lot. It wasn't just maddening, it made me mad. Perhaps is that why they call us mad? If so, then truly, I was big mad. 3. My mom was stirring some gravy on the stove. We need to make sure she eats. She is so frail anymore. The family was over for Thanksgiving. It was 2007, and I was zonked out of my mind. It was only a few months since I had finally been discharged from an involuntary stay in the hospital for the last time. And a little over half a year since some unsuccessful things and attempts had happened. My vocal cords were still on the mend from complications with my life support tubes. And needless to say, I wasn't much in the mood for talking. I walked from the kitchen through the living room and into a side bedroom. My grandma lay there, eyes half open and glazed over. She was watching Family Guy, one of her favorite shows. Happy Thanksgiving, Grandma. I feebly called in. Oh, come here, baby. Sit next to me for a while. I walked in, I sat on a black folding chair next to her hospital bed. Her warm brown hand laid in mine. My thumb traced the outlines of the lines of her skin. Did I tell you about the time your mama and all the kids had a dog named Fluffy? Yes, she did. But I told her no, she did not. I love that dog. They play with it every day. Yes, they did. And then one night, I heard that dog out there yelping like a fool. I saw it got taken. They were up on the roof. To Grandma, I asked blankly, already knowing the answer. My eyes transfixed on the TV. That came and ate that dog. And then it came for me as well. That's where I got this from. She pointed behind her ear to a sore that had never healed. She insisted it was where the aliens implanted the tracking device. Damn those aliens, Grandma. I smiled and looked down at her face. She was smiling back up at me, her salt and pepper hair in braids, and still gray eyes widening and brightening. I'm gonna need you to be strong, baby, because everybody in our family got something, but you got something. You got something special. And you can't let them take that away from this world. You hear? I looked down at the floor. I said, you hear, child? Yes, Grandma. And then a voice bellowed from the kitchen. Does anyone see this? Dinner's almost ready. Oh, Lord, my Uncle Kevin groaned. Where y'all see him at? And the whole family sprung into action. Oh, I don't know. Check over there in the sunroom, or perhaps next to the white chair in front of the window and in the purple floor everything bag under the stack of papers in that small silver Macy's jewelry box somewhere near the bottom. And after a symphony of rustling and drawers and doors slamming and heavy objects sliding and plopping back down, I hear her cousin say, I found it. And the whole house erupts into laughter. And my grandma yells back, well, I only wanted stuffing the mashed potatoes anyway. For almost 1 month of the day, she would die in that same bed. With my mom in the black folding chair, and her hand in mine. As if she had beckoned them, 1,000 small black birds descended onto our home, in our yard, in the driveway, on the electrical wires. The medical examiner had trouble getting into the house. My mom and I sat on the living room couch, my mom in her fiance's arms, howling, only the sort of howl that pays proper homage to the fresh decimation of the soul when someone who you truly love, like your mom, has gone. And I sat beside her in a daze, transfixed on the TV. It was still on from that morning before we knew she had already packed her bags to go on home. A white man with a badge and no uniform came out and said they were bringing Grandma out. And if we wanted, we could shut our eyes. The stretcher wheeled out with a latex black bag and a light blue cloth on top. My grandma, the spirit of my grandma, always wanted to be extra, never wanted to half step, must have had her hand in her final exit music, which was the background music of a certain animal rights commercial from the early 2000s that seemed to fill the room as they navigated the stretcher through our living room and out to the trunk in front. In the arms of an angel, fly away from here, from this dark cool room, and the endlessness that you feel. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of an angel. May you find some comfort here. And then she flew away. She flew away to the land of the ancestors, carried on the wings of 1 million tiny blackbirds. 5. A couple falls ago, I was going through my den, this den, which was filled to the brim with all the boxes and bags that comprised my bedroom in my mom's house. Because I was married now, and my mom needed to move to a smaller apartment. So I undertook the humbling experience of packing up my childhood into containers. And it was a perpetual to-do item to put all of my things in storage. But in the meantime, I had found joy going through the totems of my youth and my past. And I found old notebooks and expired lip gloss and long lost Furby toys and clothes that would never fit the body that I had again, and old calendars and graded assignments, and the most resilient of condiment packets and like big plastic that like what must have been a part of something larger, but it's impossible to figure out now without context. But I also found a box of photos that was given to me by my Uncle Tommy, and I looked through the creaky albums, and the plastic was yellowing and the cover was cracking, but the photos told stories of days gone by. I saw our old family home in Sallertown, New Jersey, where my family's ancestors homesteaded after moving up from Virginia and even built the water system and water tower there. I saw pictures of my cousins in Virginia who stayed after our family moved up from Jamaica. I found stamp collections and coin collections from my Aunt Autumn May and collection bills from my Uncle Wayne's credit card scams. I found an OG selfie of my mom before she had me with an old school camera and a holiday picture of the Puerto Rican cousins I've never actually met in person. But in a short matter of time, I found a photo of my grandma. And she was young and she was happy. And she was sitting on a bed, unassisted, wearing a micro braid bob wig. Her head was reared back laughing, and my Uncle John had thrown his arms around her in a big hug. I felt tears well up in my eyes, and my heart felt heavy. I miss you, Grandma, I said while rubbing the protective plastic covering her face. Well, I miss you too. I shot up and looked around the room. Grandma, where are you? Where are you, Grandma? I shouted, and I just heard a chuckle. Child, look in the box over there, next to your obsessively large beanbag chair, lying up against my old wheelchair, which you refused to give away for some reason, under that SpongeBob plushie and a brown blanket. You will find your old pink caboodle, not your new black one, but the pink one. And I'm pretty sure my teeth are in there. And they were. Both plates. I sobbed. And I laughed. And I sobbed again. And with as much pomp and circumstance as I could muster, I walked them to the ancestral altar in the living room on the wine fridge next to Uncle Wayne's ashes. I put the teeth on her favorite hand mirror, and I placed a few pieces of dried mango and a shot of rum. You'll finally be able to eat it now, Grandma. I sat with the altar for a couple of minutes and got up to finish in the den. And as I walked across the living room, I sang back to her, "You're in the arms of an angel, may you find some comfort here." With that, I want to thank you for coming to the show tonight, for spending time with us and all these amazing Black, Brown, Indigenous, disabled artists. Please check out Town Hall Seattle's upcoming events in August. If you are interested in sharing either collective or consulting education space with us at Epiphanies of Equity, you can find us at www.epiphaniesofequity.com. Or you can reach out to me, ChrisTiana ObeySumner, or any member of the Epiphanies of Equity team out in this space. Thank you so much for sharing your Friday with us. Happy Disability Pride Month. Happy ADA Day. And I hope to share space and see you all soon.